You're listening to Middle Age Movie Reviews.
Hello, welcome to the Middle Age Movies Podcast. Four guys saying, Viddy well, little brother, Viddy well. My name is Tim, and my podcasting partners are...
Matt the Droog.
Joey.
Dungeon Master Rick.
And joining us tonight, a man who likes to end a perfect podcast with a bit of the old Ludwig van. From the Andreas, the Pop Culture Guy Presents, and the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channels, it's Andreas. Say hello, Andreas.
Hello. Very well, little pop culture brothers. Very well.
All right, Joey. Why don't you tell us what films Dr. Branham is showing us tonight?
Tonight we are watching the 1971 movie A Clockwork Orange, number 517 from the book of 1001 movies you should watch before you die. Written by Anthony Burgess and Stanley Kubrick, directed by the late great Stanley Kubrick, and starring Malcolm McDowell, Patrick McGee, Michael Bates, and introducing David Prowse.
Well, thanks, Joey. You know, guys, I feel like the title A Clockwork Orange really doesn't tell us what the movie is about. Rick, what do you think? Can you share with us a better title?
Yes, I can. I have come prepared today with the best title that could be stamped on this movie. Are you guys ready to hear this thing?
Absolutely.
No, I said, are you guys ready to hear this?
Lay it on us, my brother.
Yes.
All right. It is the charismatic but violent delinquent leader of a gang is arrested for murder only to volunteer for an experimental treatment stripping him of his free will in a dystopian near-future Britain of another world. Because all of these really long anime titles, they gotta end in another world, otherwise you wouldn't know.
Yes,
right,
yes.
Right.
Well, fantastic. I am so going to write Malcolm McDowell and ask him to petition to change the movie title to that. As usual, gentlemen, I am curious when was the first time you watched this movie, and since Andreas was so nice enough to pick this film out for us because he's a bit of a Kubrick head. Andreas, when was the first time you saw A Clockwork Orange?
Okay. It was with my friends from camp. 2015 or yeah, something like that, or 2014. I got invited to their hangouts, and then every time we do a hangout, watch a movie, bizarrely, I think it was me, suggested A Clockwork Orange to watch. And thank goodness it was a group watch because first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell? You know, I seen The Shining and 2001 Space Odyssey. I knew I was going to, see something cold and what the heck was going on, from Kubrick. And at that point, I was a Kubrick fan, so I was very excited to see Clockwork Orange, and it totally fit that, but the opposite way. Instead of being cold, you're literally in the motion every time you're in this movie. And, I am so glad I saw it the second time. I appreciate more now about the themes and the character art that Alice goes to. I think this is definitely Kubrick's most thematically rich film of his filmography. It's a very, very crazy movie. You have to just take it in and then just go for the ride. That's all it is. Yeah, it's my number one favorite Kubrick film. I'm very happy we're going to discuss it, and like to hear what you guys think about this movie.
Interesting. I think that you might be running counterpoint to a few of us on the panel, so I'm curious to see where your opinions take us in our conversation. Now, how about you, Joey? When was the first time you saw A Clockwork Orange? Let me guess. It probably wasn't an edited copy on TV.
No, I'm not even sure if this has ever been broadcast on regular television, to be honest with you.
I don't think it can be.
Yeah, I want to say it was taped off of one of the premium cable channels. I couldn't tell you which one. It was not from the video store. I might have been 12 or 13 years old. It was on a VHS tape that had other things on it. I can't remember if it was one tape or two, but I discovered quite a bit of stuff on those tapes. It was really inappropriate now that I'm thinking about it, not just because I was watching it. I was watching whatever I found. I didn't even know what the hell it was. It's a movie about oranges, right? What I had found was this tape given to my sister, and there were other things on it. There was heavy metal, awesome animated cartoon, which is also for adults. There was some comedy by Bobcat Goldthwait. And then, lo and behold, I run across this movie, A Clockwork Orange. And I watch it. And it disturbs the fuck out of me. Because it's like, ooh, titties. And then it's, I'm not having fun watching these titties. And I'm scared. So I was quite young, and I want to say it was probably around 92. So many years after it had come out, and not the best copy in the world, but holy shit, was it ever an eye-opener.
Well, that kind of explains a few things.
I don't think it ruined me for life. I very much really didn't quite enjoy the movie then. I was, it's a film for adults.
Yes.
It's just frightening for anyone else.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Rick? When was the first time you saw A Clockwork Orange? Did it scar you?
No, I the first time I saw it was Saturday. I remember the first time I heard about it, though, was years and years ago. I probably was like, I don't know, 19 or 20 or something like that. And one of my coworkers had mentioned it. I don't even know how we got on the topic. I think it might have had something to do with that he was really into it, and he might have had some sort of like decal or icon or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was something. And I had asked him about it. He was like, oh yeah, man, that movie's awesome. And I'm not going to lie, man, the cover art for the movie really doesn't do it justice as far as to making it appealing for someone to be like, yeah, that looks like something I want to watch. I don't know. To me, it always kind of looked like not appealing. I'll just say that. So anyhow, Saturday, watched it, and I'll just reserve what else I got to say for the rest.
Gotcha. Well, Tim, how about you? When was the first time you watched A Clockwork Orange?
Well, unlike Andreas, I am not the biggest Kubrick fan. His movies are hit or miss for me by a long, wide margin. I will say this is a movie that has been on my radar for a while. This is one of those movies where, yeah, you hear a lot of people like, oh man, that's a great movie. You should go watch that. That's a great one. And you see that infamous picture, of him with the things in the eyes. And you're like, okay, this picture alone is intriguing. So maybe this is going to have some interesting storyline to it. So the first time I watched it was this week. And if I could remember any of the people who told me I should go watch this, I think we would have the following dialogue. Are you damaged? That's all I'm going to say. I'm concerned. I feel like you maybe have some problems we should discuss and get you some help. We'll dive deeper into that as we go.
Gotcha. Well, it's no surprise that I actually watched this movie when I was closer to adulthood than childhood. I watched this in college, oddly enough, on a 13-inch screen on VHS in my college dorm. Because, again, this was one of those movies that my college roommate was like, these are the 99 movies you need to watch as a college student. And he was a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. He read the book A Clockwork Orange. And, of course, he's telling me all the subtext and everything as we're watching the movie. And I'm like, dude, Keith, shut up. Let me watch the damn movie. At the time, I thought it was interesting. It was definitely geared towards those people in their, like, early to late 20s. Because of the context of the movie, all the violence, all of the sex, all the stuff that you would normally see in an adult film. But as I've gotten older, my opinion on this movie has definitely changed. I gotta say, as a 40-year-old dad, there's definitely some differences between this movie as when I watched it when I was in my 20s. But with that, Tim, as our Minister of the Interior, what are you going to request for the synopsis this evening?
All right, Matthew. Well, I would like you to read the synopsis as Alex in his English-oriented Nadsat slang, possibly with no Irish intervention into it, as he narrates to the audience.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Let's hear it, my brother.
Right.
Oh, my brothers, let your humble narrator tell you the tale of 4 Maleks. There was me, that is Alex the leader, and my 3 droogs, that is Pete, Georgie, and Dim. We was always after a real kick, which was good for laughs and lashings of the old ultra-violence. But me brother Georgie declared the institution in a new way. This was some large talk of Georgie the General, and no error. Suddenly I viddied what to do. A bit to the old ultra-violence to set things back right. But me droogs insisted upon revolution, which left your humble narrator afoot of a double-cross and in the hands of the police. Oh, my brothers and my only friends, after a trial, the judges and a jury and hard words spoken against your friend and humble narrator, I was sentenced to 14 years. Now, under the thumb, I did not question the whys and the wherefores, but the hows of freedom. Then your little droog heard the wispy wisps of a fast-acting treatment to which he was placed. Though I suffered unbearable pain in the Gulliver, your humble narrator found himself freed by the cure. But now, on the outsea, it appears, my brothers, this wicked, cruel world has me very low in myself, and I feel that any second something terrible is going to happen.
Very nice, Matthew. Well done, sir. Well done.
I mean, whistle, I would.
Might have been devoid of a little bit of English, accent there. Went straight to Ireland, but it's okay. I understand. You're stuck in the dialect. It's just what we have to accept. But otherwise, a beautiful rendition of Alex.
All right. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get to try to negotiate that fine line between an Irish accent and then Yorkshire accent. Well, or then, of course, there's the, I don't know, eh?
Well, should we ever get a sponsor, one of the first things we'll do is send you to a proper vocal coach, which hopefully can knock the Irish right out of you and get you on track with most of these synopses. But in the meantime, since we have no sponsor, I think we should flip over to the actual trailer and see how you fared. So if you would, sir, please play the trailer for all of us now.
There was me, that is Alex, and my 3 droogs, that is Pete, Georgie, and Dim. And we sat in the Korova milk bar trying to make up our razoo docs what to do with the evening. The Korova milk bar sold Milk Plus, which is what we were drinking. This would sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence.
Hi there, my little droogies.
The evening's the great time, isn't it, Alex Boy?
He's enterprising, aggressive, young, bold, vicious. He'll do.
Who on earth could that be?
Now it was lovely music that came to my aid, a bit of the old Ludwig van.
Viddy well, little brother. Viddy well. It'll be your own torture. I hope to God it'll torture you to madness. Stop it, please, I beg you! Food, all right. Great, sir, great. Try the wine.
It was gorgeousness and gorgeosity made flesh.
All right, guys, so that, oddly enough, was the 4K Ultra HD digital trailer, because every time I went to look for a trailer for Clockwork Orange, the original trailer was just symphonic music. It was just operatic music. I'm like, this sucks. It's like horrible audio. You get no story whatsoever. It was just flashing images on the screen.
Oh, really?
So I felt as though this truly conveys what the story was about. So what do you guys think?
Yes, thank you for sparing us the artsy-fartsy trailer that this audio medium really wouldn't do very well with.
Yeah.
So the people at home, you can go watch that, but it's like, there's no words. It's not going to be a very good trailer for a audio podcast.
Yep. So after watching that podcast or that trailer, I do have to ask Andreas something. How's the food?
So good. And the trailer, by the way, the trailer was good, but the original trailer, I actually liked the original trailer. I can see where you guys coming from the original trailer. It doesn't say it. One of the things that's so cool about Stanley Kubrick films is the image. In the original trailer, you saw clips from what you just saw now. It's like he hooks you right away, not by words, by visual. And like you see images of Alex with the stare, like his indigestion, and then of course the liquid treatment, like you're in Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. I think this trailer definitely shows us more of what the story is about.
Yeah.
What about you, Tim? How does it compare to our little synopsis?
I kind of like your synopsis just a little bit better, Matthew, but I'll say as far as the trailers go, this does make the movie look enticing. It's well done. Man, they must have had to dig hard and deep to find any scenes that didn't have some kind of pornographic imagery on it so they can put it into a trailer for sure. Because I think that's about every scene that doesn't have it in it. It only captures one aspect of this film. And there's really two big ones in this. And one is the ultra-violence of the film, which it captures great. That's what's supposed to show dystopian future with ultra-violence. But it misses the pornographic fever dream that's going on the other half of this. It's really weird.
The grapes with a G?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of grapes in here.
Yeah. And
strangely.
I say as far as the trailer goes, it's a decent trailer, but I think it's a bit deceiving as to what you're going to encounter in the film as a whole.
Yeah, like you don't see the part of him being rehabilitated. Like that's a major theme in the film. That's like the majority of the Clockwork Orange, not the ultraviolet. That's something like you see bits of it, but you don't know like what the hell is going on with him with the themes and like how do you get out? Like if he got caught, like stuff like that. It's like kind of missing the trailers.
I wouldn't want it to be in there.
Yeah, but I don't think it's really about all that. I don't think that's the third part of it. I mean, there's the redemption part that you're talking about, but ultraviolence is a huge part of this film. It's the whole first half of the film, and then it's all his rehabilitation is revolved around the ultraviolence that he committed, and then the treatment is revolved around them showing him how bad it is, making him sick of it. So that is like the main common theme is the ultraviolence, and that's what the book is really about. The book's about a dystopian future of ultraviolence, but most of the sexual themes outside of the old in-out scenes, imagery and things like that, that's not really part of it. That's something that Kubrick throws in. So there's only the non-consensual coitus that the book and the movie share.
Nice use of terms there, Tim.
Tim, I really like you brought that up because the reason that why Kubrick added in was because we're in a dystopian future, right?
Correct.
And the reason we see these images is because you're telling the audience that sex is now the new art. How in every decade there's something was like kind of crazy about art. And so in this future, apparently sex and sexuality is now the art of this like generation. That's what they're painting. That's why we're seeing those images and all that. Like, it's because that's the norm now in this like Britain of this time.
So what you're saying is, Andres, is sex is on the menu, boys. Is that what you're saying?
I swear to God, I was trying to be deep and meaningful, and then you have to take it as far as like, yes.
No, you had a very valid point. I don't mean to diminish your commentary. You're on it. I just,
No. I'm just.
You're getting pretty deep. I had to throw a little levity in there for you.
No. It was a good deep humor.
Speaking of deep, let's go ahead and dive into this movie. So, Act 1, we with the establishment of Alex and his gang of droogs, and we open up with Alex's narration, just as we had heard in the trailer. So, Alex is talking about the milk bar and the fact that they go there to have Milk Plus. It's got all these different drugs in the different flavors of milk. Drugs are just part of the culture, part of the society. They decide that after they've drank their milk, which apparently makes a body good and makes a body want to commit ultra violence, they run into Billy Boy and his 4 gang members. That's where we see our first introduction to the old in out as he refers to it. Basically have a rumble, almost like something you would see in another New York based film about gangs called The Warriors. What did you guys think of this opening sequence and the introduction of Billy Boy and the fight that takes place after the Grapes of Wrath occur?
I think that this scene was pretty jarring for me, despite the fact that there was a scene previous to the bar scene that the dudes were walking around beating the shit out of some old guy. I thought that particular scene had a little bit of symbolism as well as some foreshadowing to what we're going to see in the film. And I think now looking back, I think that it was kind of priming the audience for just like even more like this is bad. They're going to just beat the shit out of some old dude who's homeless on the side of the road, and not even on the side of the road. He's so poor he can't even be on the side of the road. He's in a drainage fucking ditch or whatever.
He's in a tunnel for a walkway. I totally forgot about talking about him. Thank you for bringing that up.
No problem. This particular scene, when you first saw it, I was just like, my jaw was dropped, man. I was just like, what the fuck am I watching over here, man? I mean, at first I was like, wait, what? And then I was like this is like really gonna happen right here, you know? And it was very off-putting, to be honest with you. It was very jarring, despite the scene before, because it's a huge jump, you know? I think generally speaking, people are all right nowadays sitting with a bunch of youngsters beating the crap out of an old guy. But the old in out unconsensually is not on the table, man. Like that's a bridge too far for, I think, a lot of people, certainly for me.
This is whole front loaded with just, for lack of a better term, overstimulation in your face. It's these hooligans, these thugs, you know, like gang members, much like you said, the Warriors, which definitely borrow from this movie as far as the gangs being all dressed up in certain, you know, outfits to represent who they are. That was completely lifted from this and that movie. We got them. So it does three things to shock you right out the gate. One, it shows you them in this milk bar, if you will, that's all laced with drugs. And it's nothing but, you know, naked mannequins coming through there. There's, you know, the fog symbol that they got to grab to pour the milk out of the woman's breast. So, I mean, it's just completely sexually oriented. Then these guys go out and they tool up on this old wino bum next to the river or whatever. Is that so far out of other things that we've seen in other movies? No, not much. But I mean, they really tool up, and he spends a lot of time viewing it. Like, I feel like a lot of directors would be a little more tasteful in that. They're not just going to focus for, you know, 2 minutes of watching these guys just kick the crap out of somebody for no reason. And then they're like, well, let's go fight this other gang. And then they come upon these guys and like, oh, look, they're about to have some non-consensual coitus too. You know, you kind of see what they're doing. They're pushing this girl around and you think, okay, they're going to stop and they're going to fight. But no, it just keeps going. And they just literally take enough time for him to narrate while these guys are pushing around and basically just removing all her clothing. I mean, by the time they're done, this girl's completely naked and they're about ready to do the deal. And he's like, well, we should probably fight now. Dude, that is a bridge too far on filming this. There are ways to portray that act without portraying that act. You know what I mean? It was too much.
Having a little bit more taste, you know, like this. Just I don't know.
It was almost like they're going. He was going more for shock and awe.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of saying it. Shock and awe. And he achieves it in spades.
Well, you guys are having a normal reaction to this. And that's the reaction I think Stanley Kubrick wanted, is that he wanted the audience to be uncomfortable and see something that meant they only heard about. He wants to portray just how disgusting and amoral and self-centered these guys are. They don't care about other people's welfare. Their leader is, you know, not unintelligent. He can be charismatic. He can be charming. He could talk his way into a home. And he's an evil person, essentially. But he chooses to be this way. He knows right from wrong. He can pretend like he's a good guy when he needs to. And he's a sociopath, essentially. And he shows that he can have consensual relationships as well, which he's good at hooking up that way too. But he chooses violence, and he chooses style he wants to. He wants to steal. He doesn't want to go get a job or go to school. And he chooses to lie to his parents, who believe him and defend him.
But do they?
Yeah.
Do they really?
The mom does.
Yes, they definitely do. Joey's totally right. Mom 100% does, and Dad does too, because he kind of like where you can see his failing as a father, as he just kind of like let it happen. Oh, I heard what he had said when she came back and she was like, he's not going to school today, he's feeling sick or something. And he was like, oh, I heard. He didn't do shit about it. He just kept reading his paper. He's complicit in the whole entire thing.
I think the parents are just living in a state of denial. They don't, if we don't acknowledge it, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I think that's strictly where they're at. They know what he's doing.
No, they don't know what he's doing. I think they think he's up to no good, and they know he's got a probation officer, obviously.
Well, that's what I mean by saying they know he's up to no good.
But they have no clue to what extent.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I also don't agree with you, Joey, that he knows right from wrong. I just don't think he blatantly cares. I think he lacks empathy 100%.
Well, that is a sociopath. You know right from wrong.
Yeah, Joey's right on that
but
too.
You choose not to do it. You choose not to do right unless it's going to benefit you.
Right.
Right.
If you're a psychopath, you really don't. You're disconnected from reality. You don't have a full sense of right and wrong, and you can literally be found not guilty as reason of insanity.
I agree with Joey here. Like, Alex knows what he's doing, especially when we get down to the road, the treatment. Like, he did it to just get out from his prison. He wasn't, rehabilitated in 2 years. He did it like out of selfish reasons to like get out of his 14th sentence. So I agree with Joey that Alex knows what he's doing, and he is a pure evil person.
I don't think he's a pure evil person. I don't think anybody is, and we're gonna get to all those themes.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty about this movie. I like it's this gray area. Yeah, Alex does horrible things, but then other characters is like, oh god, like we'll get into it. Just like classic Kubrick, famously, the first act is what people remember. I don't know. People talked about like the later half of Clockwork Orange. It's like the opening is where people talked about it. It's because the image is like what people remember most. The opening intro is one of the best cinema ever opening for a film. Just the music by Wendy Carlos is incredible. It really gets you into them, like build up to the ultra violence, and then bam, you see our film protagonist / narrator. When he starts, you just look at his eyes, and it's like, oh my god, it's like you're hooked right there with the protagonist. Him talking about it is so enticing and very unique. The slang is something very unusual because you usually see it for like European productions, like UK stuff and Irish stuff, but this is like something that's very unique, and it's like, wow. Then after that, we get into the ultraviolence. I agree with you guys. It's very very uncomfortable viewing. I don't know. It's just me. I seen a lot of stuff like in the Clockwork Orange that is far worse than this film ever did. The first in and out sequence we see, that is way tasteful than some of the other ones I've seen. Some directors, like particularly Rob Zombie, just like will push it too far and like just show it to you or like see the screens and all that. Like at least Kubrick just like ease you in of the violence.
You think
like,
that's an ease in? I don't think that's an ease in at all, Andres.
No, man,
not at all.
There's like no lube at all for that. Okay, it's just like raw dog, bro.
Well, it's not.
No.
It's not like an ease in. It's more like he's easing you in with the
That's
violence.
what I'm saying, bro. I don't think so, dude.
No,
it's raw.
shock and awe.
Raw.
Matt called it shock and awe. And not only that, but you're comparing Rob Zombie, who I don't want to call a hack director necessarily, but he is by no means on the same level where people put Kubrick. I mean, people put him on the level with like Spielberg and
Hitchcock.
Hitchcock and Lucas and things like that. Do I expect something like that from somebody like Rob Zombie, who is not, doesn't have that directorial street cred? Yes. Kubrick? No, I expect more.
Yeah, no, I understand. Let me just clear this up. But I just think Kubrick did it a more presentable way. Because Rick brought it before, the presentation of it. I think Kubrick presented it in a much easier way, in a more professional way than some directors like Rob Zombie. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Well, Kubrick was kind of laying down the groundwork for shock. And I think that you're trying to compare it to people nowadays that do shock for shock's sake. I mean, look at Eli Roth and his movie Hostel. I mean, it hits you right in the face.
Yes.
There's definitely like maybe 30 years difference between the movies of that time and what Kubrick was doing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. No, actually, I agree with you, and you're right. This was part of the new wave of Hollywood, where starting with Bonnie and Clyde, the violence became more of like the norm for entertainment after those two movies, and then we got more violent movies and the dark side of humans, and what we were capable of doing in a very evil way.
So, you mind if I interject right quick?
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to say that that little fight scene with the two, it kind of reminded me of some some fight scenes that when I was younger, me and my chaps used to videotape, and they would compile them together, cut the scenes and compile them together, make it look cool.
It was like every Western bar scene I've ever seen, only in a probably a condemned theater.
At least it had a good music, classical music for the fight.
Since you kind of brought up music, Andres, again, this is a point where Kubrick's using like classical music to help tell the story.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's really kind of fascinating that Kubrick doesn't want to pay a composer. He's using existing composed elements and bringing it into the movie and molding the movie around the music itself. I think that's rather clever.
It's also affordable because it's not copyrighted music.
Exactly.
But you still have to, you just have to pay the orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of artists work that way. I mean, Stephen King's famous for that. When Stephen King writes books, he writes them to whatever particular music he's into at the time, and it becomes a major theme for it. Like he'll often integrate it in there, or he'll use some of the music that he's listened to as kind of like a title of the chapter. And I think a lot of artists kind of find a piece of music and it kind of inspires them to work the narrative.
Right.
I gotta say, opposite of 2001, A Space Odyssey, I appreciate about this movie and some of the later work, like The Shining, he does use the composer. The actual score of this is also iconic. I think Wendy did such a good job because she comes back working with Kubrick in The Shining, and that score is very iconic. Haunting atmosphere, and this score has that. Just want to bring it up because it's not like 2001 Space Odyssey where it's literally all classical notes and like that's part of the score.
Now that we've kind of established Alex and his droogs, we get a point where he goes from what I thought would be defending the being chivalrous and saving a woman to being truly despicable, and they get away from that fight. They hop in a car, all four of them in a 2-seater car, and drive off through the countryside. And I honestly thought that Kubrick was using like stock footage from like a safety video because you keep seeing cars go off on the side of the road on the same side. Now I realize we're in London, we're in England, so they drive on the wrong side of the road and they stop in front of this place that says home. And we see a home invasion. I believe it was Tim that mentioned that Alex has a lot of charisma and he's able to talk his way into somebody's home. And it is rather clever the way he gets into this home and they assault a writer by the name of Mr. Alexander and they brutalize his wife. And this truly just takes that shock up to 11. Now, mind you, while all this is happening, Alex is also singing in the rain. It's rather disturbing that you associate that song with this movie instead of the Gene Kelly film. It's very disturbing, this whole sequence. Watching it even in my 20s, I'm like, yeah, this is just completely wrong. I mean, where are the cops? What's going on?
This is where I have to stand up and go, you guys can no longer defend this movie. Like, I understand that you're feeling what the director wanted you to feel. He did all this shock and awe to show you how horrible these people are. We've seen it now. We've seen non-consensual coitus. We have seen somebody take a beating like nobody's business. And we've seen drug use and the use of basically pornography as the new standard that, that's an acceptable thing because society is breaking down and it doesn't matter. We can just show whatever we want when we want. Now we're about to have another non-consensual coitus, another beating, and nonstop showing of all kinds of pornographic material in every way, shape, and form, whether it's posters, it's artwork, it's sculptures, it's all kinds of stuff. Like, it becomes completely unnecessary, but yet it is in every flipping scene. I think he's proven the point. He's shown who these people are. He's taking it too far. It's unnecessary. We've already established what these guys are, how they act, and their disregard for any form of decency or any social care for anybody else. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit about nobody. Okay, established. You got to start to question, like, why does he got to keep beating this dead horse in the most graphic visual way possible? And what is with all the flipping sexual stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a prude by any means of the imagination, but it's just stupidly out there. It's way too much. Again, I'm going back to, it's a pornographer's fever dream. I begin to question Kubrick and his motives and who he is. I don't know if the dude's still part of the 60s culture and he's on drugs and stuff and he's into this kind of crap or whatever, but like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that this is not what I would expect from a guy who's already an established director with a lot of street cred at his level, making a film like this. This feels like a freshman film. This feels like somebody who's like trying to make a name for themselves, not somebody who just put out 2001, which is also a drug-fueled fever dream.
To me, it seems like Kubrick's trying to hold up like a dark mirror of a dystopian future, but he just keeps ramping it up more and more. And I get the idea that he gives us these feelings that this is not how society should be. This, we should be in shock and awe of this. And I think he took it too far with this scene.
Dude, when I was watching this, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And quite honestly, if I wasn't charged with watching this for this podcast, I legitimately would have shut it off. I do not believe that was the intended reaction for this film, that people would just walk the fuck out of the cinema or turn off the VHS or turn off the TV. I do not believe that was the intended reaction, because that's the reaction that I had. I would have just been like, nah, fuck this. This is too fucked up. I don't even know what the fuck this is even. Why are we even going? Like, it just makes no sense. Yeah, okay, fine. These gangs is really, bad dudes or whatever. But don't have to do all that, man. Just doing too much.
Yeah.
Way too much, man. I definitely would have not finished this.
The only major key point that they're showing us this bit is because of the payoff at the end, when you finally do see a comeuppance for the characters.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the city in the rain moment is another piece of the movie that people is well known for. I don't want to say any verb or noun that will trigger everyone in this panel. It's very talked about scene because it's very shocking, because you thought you were with Alex because of the previous scene, and it's like, okay, he beat up this group that was gonna do that. But then you get to this scene, it's like, nope, this gang is just like any other gang, pure evil, and it's was very shocking. Unfortunately, Mike Waddell, to get through the scene, he had to improvise something to make the scene organic, and he just came up because he knew seeing rain in heart, and so that's how it happened. And just as a Kubrick fan, I just want to bring this up because yes. It is shocking what Kubrick's doing with all this sexual imagery. It's not a first time theme to see in the Kubrick film. Let's be honest here. Right. I'm a Kubrick fan. It's in every other movie. He explores the sexual desires, the idea, the theme of humans and their sexual desires. So that it's all permanent in his films. It's just. It talks in a very different way depending on what genre it is. Like, you look at The Shining, and Jack, he's a bad dad who has, alcohol problems, but that's not the reason. He is a pure guy, gets into the situation where his impulsion gets, controlled by, these evil spirits in the hotel. And there's a lot of image of him having this sexual frustration. I mean, especially when he goes to room 237, what we see, a naked woman and in the bathtub, and then it turns into a very disturbing and horrific moment that I cannot forget. But all
hang on though. I don't think that's as bad as what we're seeing here, though. Although Kubrick still makes some very questionable sexual props or decisions in that movie. I mean, granted, we got the naked woman and stuff, but it's not the same as what we're seeing here. But then Kubrick still does some weird stuff, like he's sitting in the lobby reading a Playgirl magazine. who the hell has a Playgirl magazine in the lobby, and B, what guy's picking that up and going to read it? No, I mean, I'm just gonna say, let's face it, Kubrick, he's a pervert. Plain and simple, this guy's got some sexual problems, and it shows in all his movies. And this one, he might as well be like, you know what? I think I might just want to start making porn for a living. I mean, he's on the cusp.
What was his final film that he got to complete?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. I mean, that's another one where you're like, man, this is really uncomfortable. So, dude had problems, man. I think he had problems, and it just like everybody said, he's a genius. No, he's a pervert. He's a pervert, and he's
he's not displaying these things as positive. And I think Eyes Wide Shut might be a lot. That might be based on some truth, and all the more relevant than ever in this post-Epstein world we live in. That there were rich elite people out there having weird sex parties.
Yeah, but then there's even like things where the girl that we're going to see later, when they're trying to prove that he's cured, she's on the stage naked in just a pair of panties. Supposedly, he made this woman try on like 25 pairs of panties, like until he could find the exact ones he wanted her to wear. They're damn panties. Pick a color. Tell her to put them on, So,
Kubrick was known for having so many goddamn takes, and it
but that wasn't
because it was beyond perfectionism. I think he had a little bit of OCD.
Yeah, well, that's OCD.
If this dude was still alive, this dude would be the Epstein that people would be looking at. I bet.
Yeah. You hit it. He's the Epstein of film, man.
He would be all over the news, man.
I don't think he was a pervert or a sexual deviant at all. Maybe a pervert. He wasn't a predator. Let's not compare Stanley Kubrick to a predator.
No,
you could say he's perverted. Don't say he's a predator. He's not.
I didn't say he was a predator. I said he's perverted. But he just did.
I'd say he'd be all over the news for this shit, man.
Even the actress that's doing this scene that we're talking about right now, when he was auditioning him, the woman came in audition. He's like, well, I'm going to need to see you completely naked. She's like, you do not need to see me completely naked. I will get naked in front of the camera. I've done it before, but
I heard that.
You don't need to do it now. And he's like, well, then you're not in it or whatever. And so he auditioned other
No,
women.
there's truth to that. If they won't do it for the audition, they will fuck up your movie on the day of.
But she was already a known commodity that did that in other films, so it wasn't like she was like not going to do it in this one. And then he hired another woman, and then she freaked out because she couldn't handle the intensity of it. Called back this woman, and he's like, "I still need you to be naked." She's like, "I'm not doing it." He's like, "Well, how do I know I'm going to like your tits?" She's like, "If you don't, you can fire me, but you're still paying me." It wasn't that he was afraid she was going to freeze up in camera. It was that he was like, "I don't know if I'm going to like your breasts."
Well, that's not the way he should have phrased it. He should have had another woman a woman in the room.
Well, right.
It's Hollywood, and you can cast people based on their body type. For a small role, he's not going to go get someone who's a stunt double, a body double. For scenes, he's gonna see what she look like.
Yeah,
I don't know, Joey. I realize, Joey, that you kind of have a little bit of expertise with this stuff, but I think that the environment on this is kind of shifted. I don't know if the directors have that type of latitude anymore.
No.
You can very well cast people based on what they look like.
I hear what you're saying, but
yeah.
I don't know if that particular "your tits don't look good" is really gonna fly nowadays.
Oh no, I'm saying like you can't say that today. You'd be fucking canceled.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But you can discriminate and say, this audition requires nudity, and if they say no to it, you're like, your audition's over. You can do that. And I've heard it from Lloyd Kaufman with Trauma. It's like he shoots all the scenes for actresses involving nudity on day one. So he doesn't have to recast them after he shot something else. And all of a sudden they get cold feet and they know it's going to cost too much to reshoot the scenes. And they use it as a way to either ask for more money or to tone down the scene. And it's like, that's not what you signed up for. So it does happen. And sometimes it's about money. And in this movie, the sexual scenes are violent.
Yeah.
You would have to be extremely honest with people and probably do clothed rehearsals with people and even do a closed rehearsal or clothed, meaning you're wearing clothing, and do a rehearsal for the audition and say, okay, we're going to do all the violence, now. So you see if you're okay with it. And we are also, before that, we're gonna see if you're okay with being nude in front of a camera, because a lot of people are gonna chicken out on this because it's fucked up.
Yeah. after this whole sequence, Alex goes home, and we kind of see a little bit of his home life. We get to meet his parents. We see what his flat is like. And we also see that he's a big fan of Ludwig van Beethoven. He listens to Beethoven before he goes to bed. And then, of course, that's when we see the next morning when we get introduced to his parents. I have to say, I've seen old ladies with blue hair before, but I've never seen old ladies with, like, pink and purple hair. I mean, it seemed like every time they showed a woman, she was wearing hairstyle and hair colors that were not for her age.
I think it was prophetic. I think it's like, hey, you see young people in their 20s and they're dyeing their hair like interesting colors. What if they just keep doing that until they're old?
And there are some Karens out there that have decided to like dye their hair in multiple colors. So yeah, I can see where he was trying to be prophetic with, a 68-year-old woman dyeing her hair. Like,
wait till we're 68 and there's somebody like, hey, it's the new thing on TikTok. Now that we've gone gray, let's do a throwback to our 20s and dye our hair fucking blue and purple or pink or whatever, right? There's young ladies now are dyeing their hair silver. Some of them fuck it up and it looks gray, and it's like, why would you want old fucking lady hair? But some of them get the perfect, like, silver comic book storm, like, fucking hair and shit like that. These trends come and go. I think we're going to see all kinds of crazy shit. People are selling me Ninja Turtle underwear for adults, right? And I wear it, and I think it's fucking awesome, right? Someday, are they going to sell me Ninja Turtle diapers? Am I going to get Depends with He-Man on it?
It all depends, Joey. It all depends, Joey.
I'm gonna have T2 diapers. I'll be back right on the ass. We were talking about how awful the audition process was for women who were interested in being in this film. I imagine it probably wasn't a very easy audition process for Malcolm McDowell either. There's a lot they have him do that's just as messed up as what they have the ladies do. It's like,
messed up. Yeah.
He's simulating this violence and these grapes, but also he is treated like a prisoner and, has a flashlight put up his spread ass. So, and then you see his, genitalia and a man, does touch his private area in a that was a weird scene with the parole officer. It's like he both hit him and kind of touched his balls and seemed to kind of like him at the same time. It's like, that's not going to be a fun scene to do for either of those guys.
That's not even a normal scene to do. Like, who the fuck films a scene like that? Like, that's even, in what world is that even realistic?
Right.
Like,
there's probably a lot of parole officers are perverts.
I don't know, man. All I know is when him touches me in the balls, it's game on. Like, that's not gonna happen. You're not gonna have him come in, sit bed, and then lay down with me and fucking fondle my nuts. No, thank you.
But then he has the power to put you in jail.
And it's his parents' bed.
Yeah.
And I think the only funny thing in that whole sequence through the entire movie is the fact that he picks up, I'm assuming it's Alex's mother's dentures.
Yeah.
And he's drinking out of the denture cup, and then he realizes what he's doing.
He's doing it.
That's the only funny thing in this whole movie.
That's not funny. That's gross, bro.
Yeah.
That's gross.
That's what you get for making yourself at home. But my point is that this probably wasn't easy for Malcolm McDowell either. So Let's not have a double standard. It was a graphic role for him.
I'm not saying it was a field day for him either. I didn't insinuate that in any way, shape, or form.
No. Before we move on, I just want to bring up something. I totally forgot.
Butthole gazing.
Yeah. I totally forgot something about the dad. If anyone didn't recognize him, Mr. Grady is in this movie. I was like, oh my God, he's actually in this movie.
Oh wow!
That was Mr. Grady from The Shining.
News to me.
Yes, the dad.
Oh yeah,
that was him. Because it's weird about Kubrick. He doesn't re-collaborate with actors, but there's a few he does, and this actor does come up a couple times in these movies, and another one in Barry Lyndon.
I was gonna say I didn't notice any other actors from movies to movies, but I was gonna mention that. Did you guys notice that Alex's haircut looks very much like the kid from The Shining's haircut? I mean,
yes.
Dude, that was his style, man.
Yeah.
I don't think that was intentional.
I think that's a 70s thing.
Yeah, it's a 70s thing.
That's like every other guy.
Yeah.
Well, as far as famous people in here, Steven Berkoff is in this motherfucker, man. I don't know if you guys don't recognize him, but he was the villain in Beverly Hills Cop, which, by the way, was the first movie that I helped y'all review back in a little while ago, like a year or so ago. Beverly Hills Cop, yes.
No, yeah. What was that episode number?
Oh
man, I thought you were like perfectly segueing into this. Hold on, wait.
Oh man,
I'll get it for you. Hold on.
Yes, and it was episode 12. 12. It was episode 12, man.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Really, episode 12?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills RoboCop.
That is in the Wayback Machine there.
Oh yeah. So speaking about going way back, we mentioned a little bit about Alex's parents. Just from the whole sequence that we see of them in the apartment flat, I get the feeling that, Alex's parents are shown as like kind of uncaring of Alex's comings and goings, and the parents kind of both work during the day, and they don't really, enforce or commit Alex to go and attend school. To me, this kind of feels like an extreme commentary on the future of latchkey kids that grew up in the 70s through the 2000s.
I don't know, Matt. I look at that and I'm just like, if I was that dude, I mean, you got the guy who's working. I mean, he's obviously working. He's in a little bit of denial. If that was my kid and my wife, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to work as much as I can. I hope I just die early. I'm just seriously like, that kid's nothing but trouble. And what the fuck's going on with my wife? She's old. She's dressing like she's still 18 in these fucking raincoat suits with her blue hair and shit. She's 2 seconds away from being that woman who's just popping wine all day long and living in denial. So yeah, like it's a completely dysfunctional family.
Where does she work? Because I could have sworn that we see her again at a bar being a waitress.
No,
I'm not sure.
No. So some women have those crazy like hair colors throughout the film, but we get a confirmation of her job. She says she goes to the factory. If you know, in Great Britain, she probably works at like a mill factory or something like that. No. If you not rewatch, but like you pay attention to the film, she does say, "I'm off, to the factory," and that's she has a.
Yeah, it's probably the milk factory.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah, I was just say, with what she's wearing, I don't see her going down to the still mill. No, I'm thinking that maybe the factory is like the name of a bar or something.
I thought maybe she was working at the fishery. That's why she's got to wear like the raincoat clothes all the time, because she's just getting fish guts and crap all over her. So she just hoses off when she gets home.
I can, the parents are so neglectful to Alex stuff, but just the major big theme about this movie, besides free will, is the institution itself. It's all failing on Alex, the government, the police, whoever that guy was, his parole officer, or I don't know what it is, and the parents.
Well, back up. Did you say that? Wait, say what you just said again, because I thought I heard you say something. I'm like,
what?
Please say it again, because if I misheard it, then I'm good.
Parole officer?
Did you just say that you thought that they were failing Alex?
Well,
the institution.
The institution, like in general, like.
Oh man, fuck that. Alex is a problem. He is a problem.
Well,
he is a problem. Period.
No. The movie is saying that. I agree with the movie. I'm just saying that it's just another thing. Like, if the parents were much like Tim and Matt, responsible parents, they can.
Oh, actually, so I'm not responsible parent. I resent what you're saying over there, Andreas.
Sorry.
Andreas, he's calling you out, man.
I'm sorry, Dungeon Master. I just had to say
it. It's all good.
No,
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. It comes from home, to some extent. Now, do keep in mind that what Joey had said earlier, I think, is definitely true. I mean, he does show signs of sociopathy.
Yeah.
So that being said, I'm not like a psychologist or whatever. I don't know exactly how that works, but I think it's something around the 30 to 70%. So 30% is your nature,
yes,
and 70% is your nurture. Maybe that doesn't work for sociopathy, So I don't know.
And to be fair, I just want to read it up. He's not the only one that the system fails. Like his droogies are just like him as well. And like, what is their parents are doing with them in general? And it's just another major theme and like recurrence about this film. Like,
here's the difference though. So we know the world's crumbling down around him. We see the apartment building they're living in. It's a shithole all the way around. But then you see the inside of the apartment. It's fucking phenomenally beautiful.
Yeah.
Gaudy as all get out, but it's very well maintained. This isn't a kid whose parents are failing him because they're drug addicts and they're living in low income housing in a rundown, dilapidated building, and they're smoking crack all day and drinking booze and passed out and shit. These are active, functioning family. I mean, there may be a little disinterest in what he's doing. Maybe even it's down to only child syndrome where he's our only one and he can't possibly be doing anything wrong because he's perfect kind of thing, which happens when you got only one. Like, they may not be totally involved in his life, but they are not providing him a house where he's living to a point that would drive him to this. Like, he's still coming from a good house, although maybe he's not getting the attention that he quite needs.
The other Droogs may have grown up in a ghetto and they're kind of not that smart, but he is, I don't know that he's privileged, but he's definitely upper middle class.
Yeah, he's not wanting for anything. He's choosing to be like this. So I would, even though Rick said it's a 30-70, in his case, I'd say it's more of a 50-50 or 60-40. They may not be showing the interest in him, but he's just a psychopath from the get-go and decides to do this to the parents again, they're trying to just live their best oblivious life.
Well, we see this in real life. Not necessarily kids that are just even, middle class, but you actually see it even more with, they come from affluent families where they have everything. And then they get out in the real world and they've finally done something their parents can't pay off. And even in sometimes they commit a crime and they still get a virtual slap on the wrist for physical assault, what have you. It does happen. You go to the best schools, you're smart, your parents are smart.
Yeah.
You've won the genetic lottery, you've won the literal lottery because you're going to fall into money, and you grow up to be a piece of shit who doesn't value anyone, certainly not the people you look down on. They're less than.
Yeah.
So just to put a little bit of perspective, I just kind of did a quick search on some psychological papers and meta-analyses and whatnot, just real quick, and apparently about 56% falls on genetics. So whether you want to say directly or indirectly, it's the parents' fault.
Yeah. The guy got the keys from the mom. Like he did actually word to word go home. Like, at least the movie is aware of that. History discussion about Alex. This, why he's doing this, he is in this, comfortable, he's in a good home, and it's crazy that he's doing these crazy things.
I think he's the epitome of idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah. No,
Nice.
no, I like that. Yeah.
And when parents leave and he's confronted by his probation officer, but that's definitely a rather uncomfortable theme to watch. Definitely some homosexual undertones, as well as that whole person of authority in a position with someone much younger. It's very scary.
I thought that dude was kind of fruity, the way he talked. It was kind of interesting. And by the way, with regard to all these people talking, I don't know about you guys, but I had to have the subtitles on. I could not understand, especially when they get to the part where the dude's like, happy polylologies. I'm like, what the hell, bro?
Yeah, it was worse with my experience on VHS when I first watched it. But even with clearer audio, it's tough.
Yeah, I also put on the subtitles, and then I realized this is not helping this viewing at all.
The thing that's kind of sucks is that it's British, so of course you get that accent in there, which I enjoy listening to. But there's also a lot of made up slang. A lot of the stuff that he's saying is not stuff that you normally hear, even in British culture.
Yeah,
they kind of ramped it up a little bit. They kind of took what I think some of us would consider Ubonics and kind of mashed it in there with some British type slang.
Nowadays, apparently, it's Gen Z speak. I recently had a quiz on Gen Z speak, and I failed miserably.
It's basically a made up futuristic slang is what it is, and he combined English, Russian, and some other influences together to come up with it. So it is just pure dribble, and it really, a lot of it means absolutely nothing. Although if you read enough of it, you start to see where he tries to be a little consistent with the dribbles, but mostly it's just crap.
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't use the subtitles for this one. I already in the first viewing.
Well, that's because you're not middle-aged like we are, Andreas.
Oh.
Your ears still work.
You know what I did? I just accepted the world of the Clockwork Orange. I was like, okay, you're using this land, that's fine. And it was funny. Like, it didn't bother me because if you use the subtitles, that would kind of be distracting. But when he started using like words that we were familiar with, I was like, oh wow, they're using this. Like towards the end of the movie, he like say fucking hell. I was like, whoa. I didn't know you could use that. The slang is very interesting. I mean, but it makes the movie unique. It makes it like just something you've never experienced.
It's actually the one cool thing about the whole film is that it has its own rhythm and beat to it because of this strange language.
Yes.
And I did enjoy the way it's written. He phrases things in a non-standard kind of way. It reminds me a little bit of Justified.
Yes.
It seems like they go the long way to say anything. And I don't have a prime example right now, but I enjoyed that a little bit. I didn't enjoy it as much as what was the Western that Timothy Oliphant was in? It was on HBO. Can you guys help me with that one?
Deadwood, you're talking about.
Deadwood, yeah. Deadwood, they took it to like almost the Piker level, as far. It went a little too far. But this has a nice, comfortable beat to it. It does make you kind of pay attention. It forces you to listen and try to figure out what it is he's saying. And I think sometimes they just throw in these nonsensical words just to make it far more interesting. They really mean nothing, but you can kind of read literally between the lines of the words and figure out what he's trying to get at. So yeah. I did enjoy his cadence and speak in the film and the way that it was written. I thought it was kind of interesting. It was the one thing I will kind of go thumbs up on with it, that I thought that was really interesting the way it was written.
Yeah, it is neat to always see, or to see a dystopian future that try to predict how the human language changes and evolves over time. I thought that was a pretty cool aspect. We then get to see Alex in his normal element. He takes and puts on like some nice clothes and goes down to the local record store and meets these two ladies, and you get the idea that at some point Alex could be a functioning person of society, and he's got, as the kids call it, Riz, I believe is what they call it.
It is Riz. It is Riz. Yep.
He would have been a fantastic stock bro.
Yeah.
This dude is a straight Sigma when he wants to be. Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
It's like the better than alpha.
Okay. Gotcha.
Basically, the alpha is like always trying to prove himself, but the Sigma is better than the alpha, so he doesn't need to prove anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, so he manages to score a date with two ladies, and they go back to his place, and we get a sped up view of the date, which this ball's in Tim's court. I agree that this point of the film, that this is Stanley Kubrick just truly showing the glory of what he thinks of his perversions.
And I think it took like 27 minutes to film this whole thing,
yes.
or longer than that even. That's why they sped it up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be another non-consensual coitus scene, and that's how it's referred to sometimes, but I don't really think it was.
No.
I think it was consensual coitus scene.
Yeah, he kept talking them into taking their clothes back off and doing it again.
Yeah. It's a little weird, but
that's what it looked like.
This is a big change that Kubrick did from the book, because it could have been like what you guys say, a on section in and out, because in the book they were kids. So, and in the movie, Alex is actually edged up. I'm thinking because Mac McDowell in real life during that time of filming, he's 27, and these girls, in the film, they kind of edged them up to be like teenagers, because Alex is a teenager.
Yeah, he's playing I think a 17-year-old, and in the book he's supposedly 15 and they're 10.
Exactly.
Which is even more disturbing. Like, the book actually is more disturbing in that regard.
Yeah, and so, see, that is where that could cross the line for me. And I was like, no, I'm done with this movie. I'm happy that Kubrick has, sense of reality to, no. This is going to be too far, just comfortable for, and he was a father at that time. He already had two daughters. So I'm happy he changed up that scene to something that was
more palatable.
Yeah, palatable. Thank you. I don't want to say acceptable, because that it wasn't.
Yeah,
that's another big difference from the book as well. Oh, and speaking of, no, I forgot. I bring up 2001. If you guys didn't pay attention to the record store,
Yes.
right in the center, you can see album 2001: Space Odyssey. I just want to bring that up.
Yeah. The album was right there in the record store. And what I find rather hilarious is that everyone's still listening to little audio cassette tapes or record players, and I just think it's hilarious that they're keeping the purity of the audio wave alive. Nobody's running around buying MP3s or something.
That's because he couldn't afford the MP3 player at the time, the reel-to-reel.
Yeah.
I think the cassette is the cutting-edge technology in that one. I mean, really.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a mini one.
Records was really a big thing. Yeah, because the mini ones were really just dictation tapes. They sucked that horrible audio, so it never became a real thing. But that's kind of what they're showing. That whole tape players, you could tell it's just a mock-up piece of bullshit tape recorder or whatever. But that's the cool new technology that they're showing there.
That could be possible in the future. I'm surprised.
I just want to know is, when do we go back to physical media and we go to like Babylon 5 and we have the little crystals that have all the audio and video recording that we could possibly fit on something, and we put it in a little slot? That's what I'm looking forward to.
After the streaming stuff is dead, and then that's when we go back to physical media.
Well, how about you, Rick or Joe? You have any comments on little Alex's dates?
So it's also showing that he's oversexed. It's like, it's not, enough to do it with two women. I got to do it with both of them multiple times.
I think if he became more a predator, as you guys understand from the book, that could make him more of a monster. Like, that's the thing. Like, I still think of him as a monster, just from that beginning of the film version. Let me say that.
I think no matter how you slice it, all these scenes were bad. They're all bad. Like,
yeah.
It's not like, oh, that one, nah, fuck that. Like, they're all bad, dude. They're all bad. And now that you mention it, Joey, that does make more sense. Because I was like, why the fuck is this in here? Like, it didn't really, it didn't follow what was going on in the film. It seemed like it's some sort of side or adjacent type of thing that was happening.
Yeah.
Well, after this date, Alex is then confronted by his droogs, and they want to change things up. They're tired of all this paltry petty crime stuff. They heard about they can fence jewelry and stuff. They want to do some smash and grabs, and Georgie has an idea that he wants to be the boss now, and they more or less confront Alex, and Alex is like, all right, fair enough. But as they're walking alongside the river, Alex suddenly gets the idea of, okay, there's a way that I can reestablish dominance, and he basically attacks his buddies, his droogs, throws them into the river, cuts Dim's hand as he's trying to get out of the river. He now reestablishes his dominance over the crew, and they hang out at a bar. And at this particular bar is where I thought we saw Alex's mother. But I think this is Kubrick's way of letting you know that Alex is the dominant character in this movie. He is the guy that you cannot go against. He's already got his thumb on his crew. He's not letting them up for any reason whatsoever. And he even says that, hey, after I knock them down, you do have to show them a little bit of latitude. And that's where Georgie tells him about his idea to rob this wealthy cat lady that owns a farm in the countryside that apparently there's a bunch of riches at. What did you guys think of this reestablishment of Alex's position and his crew?
They're just tired of being bullied by him. I mean, that's just this whole thing. He's just kind of like, I'm smart, you're not, I'm in charge. And anytime that they displease him, like in the milk bar, they're tired of that bullshit. So like, look, General Georgie's now in charge, and I'm going to take this to the next level because, we do all these little petty things and we never even see much money from it, which we find to be interesting too. And he's like, I don't think I'm going to let this happen. He waits till they're next to the shallowest river on the planet, pushes them into it, pulls out his little phallic knife and cuts one of them in the hand. Like, oh, it's the most traumatic thing I've ever seen versus all the other crap we've seen. It's so tame. And then they're like, oh, well, we're wet and I got a little cut on my hand. We're going to fall back in line. And then we decide that they're going to move on to this great heist, which is going to not go well, but we haven't quite got there yet.
Right.
Pointed this out before with these type of gangs. Like when we did the review of Mad Max, the reason why Toe Cutter was in charge was because he was the craziest dude in the gang. This is the same type of dynamic that it's showing. He's the craziest dude in the gang. So he's going to basically be in charge. And if anyone tries to take the reins from him, he's just going to do something crazy.
He's the smartest and toughest animal. They might as well be apes.
But it doesn't manage to prove it.
And he's the silverback.
Yeah, but he doesn't really prove it. Like I'm the silverback, but I'm not really going to be that tough. And he pushes two of them into the water, cuts one of their hands, and calls it a day. I mean, in Mad Max world, like the leader would just kill somebody, be like, any more questions from any of you? Nope, didn't think so. I mean, but he
has limited followers and he wants to keep them.
Yeah, I guess.
Put them in their place.
Yeah.
But it was just like a smack on the hand kind of thing. They're like, you big wuss. So, yeah, it's going to backfire because he really didn't go all crazy on him,
Well, to be fair, I don't know if you remember seeing Robin Hood Men in Tights. Look, those people over in Britain, they get crazy when they get wet, all right? You remember seeing what happened with Little John? I mean, he was freaking out. He thought he was going to drown, bro.
Oh, my God.
Well, and it looked the same when he put Dim in there. You see, he's got that look like, oh, my God, I'm drowning. And then he goes to grab the hand of life from his ankle-deep water, and he cuts him in the hand. He's like, oh, I'm going to die. It was just the dumbest thing I'd ever seen.
Oh, my God.
Like, dude, stand up, act like a man, go back, punch him in the face. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just...
Oh, leave Dim alone. He was just an innocent... Well, not innocent, he's...
Yeah, I don't think innocent at all, Andreas.
He's this, bad guy just trying to move up. And, and his boss is so mean to him. Come on. I wish this film, talked to this more, because it's a very interesting angle with Alex. It is, I don't know, he likes killing. He does like horrific things, but, the one thing that we don't see in this film is killing. When we throw these terminology as psychopath or, something like that, those, psychological names for these particular bad guys, kind of weird with Alex, because he has some of the traits, but the thing is, he doesn't kill. Like the cat lady, he thought he just banged her up, not as bad. And then when the officer, the parole officer, came and visited him, he said, no, Alex, I just came from the hospital. The cat lady has murdered. He's dead. It was like a sign for him, oh no, I'm dead shit. It's one of those things I kind of wish the movie discussed more. Does he like killing, or he just likes violence, like assaulting people? It's just killing is maybe one thing he doesn't like,
I think it's because he just hasn't graduated to that next level yet. He's trying to skirt that fine line of violence without killing, so that he can be like, no, look, I'm not like that. I mean, yeah, we might have.
I don't think that at all.
You don't think he's? I mean, that's how these guys go.
I've seen it in real life too. What he was doing, he was expressing remorse in the sense that now he knows he's fucking cooked. He's done. He's going to prison for real. He's not going to boys reform fucking school or anything like that. Yeah. They got him for murder, and his parole officer's fucking eating it up, and he's enjoying the agony that Alex is going through, that he knows his life is fucking over.
Yeah.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. He was trying to skirt that line so that he would, if he got in trouble, he wouldn't get into
I think he's killed people before. He just got away with it.
So you think he's done it before then?
Oh, yeah. No, this is he's fucking caught. He's done.
See, I think if he'd have done it before, those guys would have been a little more...
They knew that he was going to fuck around and find out, and they got revenge on him. They knocked his ass out when they heard the sirens coming, because they wanted him to be fucking done away with. He's caught, and he's fucking done, and they got him. I don't think he has any remorse about killing anybody.
Yeah, well, and I don't think that his droogs knew that he had killed her. I think they were just trying to get him thrown into prison for a while, because they're like, we're tired of his bullshit.
Oh, yeah, they didn't know what happened in there, because they literally fucking went outside.
Yeah. They were lucky, very lucky with that. Alex got a serious crying.
Yeah, Alex did not know that she was totally fucking dead. Like, I think he was being legit. He's like, she was breathing when I left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Something I wish the movie discussed more detail. The difference between Alex and some of the major like villain characters. Yeah.
I think he would have continued to escalate. I think he left that home not giving a shit whether she was going to live or die because he thought he was going to get away with it.
Yeah, no, and that's consistent with his character throughout the film. Like,
so we're kind of in that area now where he's attacked the cat lady and he gets arrested, and then his Drews kind of turn on him. This is probably Alex's like final moment in society, in his mind that he's in right now. It's Kubrick kind of shows his total downfall here. I mean, he's now arrested. He's beaten up. His probation officer comes in and basically tells him, "Hey, you're screwed." Does anybody have any comments on Alex's arrest?
I'm super excited that the lady actually called the cops. The dude was banging on the door. I was thinking that, and then she actually did it. I was like, why the fuck is she not? She gonna say no, you can't come in, then actually calls. I like that. I thought it was appropriate that the boys turned on him. I thought that was cool that he got arrested. I thought it was cool that he got his ass beat in prison, or in the police station. I thought it was cool that the parole officer, whoever he was basically knew the whole time that he was a piece of shit and was very excited about that he slipped up this time and he can't wiggle his way out of it. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that he had to go to prison. I thought that was cool.
I think the only thing that I find disheartening is the fact that he only got 14 years in prison for murder.
Yeah.
I would have liked to thought that it would have been more times to serve.
Yeah.
Did he take a plea, and was it to murder too, and it wasn't premeditated?
Well, I think the other interesting thing here too is that he still doesn't see himself as a villain or a bad guy, because he makes that comment like, "Oh, my brother isn't only friends." After the trial and all these people speaking horrible about me, I was sentenced to 14 years, but there's an end piece to that where it's like, and I was placed in prison with all the bad people. He uses a term for several of them. He kind of calls them out by name in his own weird slang. Basically, he's like, oh, well, I did this thing that I didn't mean to, and I'm really not a bad guy. It was just an accident. And now I got to do 14 years with all these horrible people. So he still doesn't even see it. Like, he's still in denial. It's just bad luck that he has come to this point. And now he just has to figure out what's the fastest egress to this place. What can I do that will get me out before the 14 years so I can get back to it? No remorse, no acceptance of what he's done or that he's the bad guy in this scenario. It's just the world is against me, and this was just a bad twist of fate that befell me.
Yeah, no accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys hit the nail right there with that scene. I mean, that was just the downfall for Alex, but not the biggest downfall for him, I gotta say, because there's more downfall for him in a very unexpected way.
Yeah.
It's cool for Alex to get his like comments, like his the payback, but a couple times, not one, like 3 times, 4 times, let me say that 4 times, and it's so darkly humor, and at the same time you're satisfied about it, but then it's like it's just so crazy. It's just like, we'll get into it, but yeah, this is this downfall, the start of his downfall, and his bad luck continues.
Yeah, we left poor Alex in prison. He's serving a 14-year prison sentence. Did anyone else get like John Cleese vibes from the prison guard?
Nah, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I probably was dozing off and I'm in and out a little bit on this because I'm like, oh my god, it won't end. And I'm having a hard time wanting to focus.
What did the guys make me watch for this movie? Who do I have to blame for this? Oh wait, it's Andreas. We have to blame for this. Okay.
Don't. Oh.
I knew he would get me someday. This is the day.
I was surprised.
Well, as I was saying, Alex is 2 years into his prison sentence, and he's made friends with a prison chaplain, and he's serving as I would say an altar boy, but because I don't think they're Catholic.
He's the overhead viewer lyric, like transparency turner.
Yeah.
He's basically the hymnal. He's the hymn book.
Yes, yeah. And while this is all going on, he is reading the Bible, and he's not absorbing the Bible to like renew himself or make himself any better. He's reading the Bible, and he's only sticking to like all the violent parts of it. And he pictures himself as like Pontius Pilate. He pictures himself as, King David when, David falls out of the graces and stuff. It's, he's not absorbing what he should be absorbing, looking for redemption for what he did, because he doesn't care. He's a sociopath.
To someone like Alex, this is the ultimate statement of like the Bible's open to interpretation. And to someone like Alex, it can be used as pornographic literature.
Yeah, it's probably the most disturbing thing of the whole film. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I can't imagine anybody reading that book and that is how they interpret it. It was, and not only that, but the thoughtful reflection as he's thinking about it, like visually, is beyond disturbing. I mean,
to be fair, there's lots of awful shit in the Bible, but you're supposed to feel awful about it.
I know, but he's like pondering like how much I love these bits here and going into massive detail as to how great they are. I mean, he's like, yeah, I can see myself as a soldier, getting behind the whip and, just really working him down the lane with that cross and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I didn't think this film could get any worse, but yeah, they found 11. The Kubrick found 11, turned it up, and this is it right here. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard of. I mean, even if you're not a religious person, it's just appalling.
It is, yeah.
At this point, I was a brainwashed Catholic school kid. I think I might have only been there for a year or two. I was in 5th or 6th grade. And I gotta say, the scenes of him like whipping Jesus might have been, to my brain, even as offensive as the grapes.
I particularly liked how people in charge of the judicial system wanted to throw the book at him. And they knew he was bad. Like, they knew he was bad. Alex wasn't going to fool them. Alex might have been able to fool other people. Those in leadership positions of the judicial system, they knew he was full of shit with everything. He didn't give a shit about anyone. The main guard, he knew. That dude was like, okay, yeah, this dude is bad. The the parole officer knew he was bad. The other police officers in there knew he was bad. Like, they all knew he was bad.
It certainly does make you think about even our own current, judicial system and, how prisoners are treated and, the political machinations of the higher ups. It certainly is Kubrick's trying to shine a light onto some of the stuff going on. And at this time of England, I believe this is during like the Margaret Thatcher years. Well, as we learn, Alex is ready to try to get out of his prison sentence. So he's inquiring to the chaplain if there's like some kind of procedure or, something to streamline his rehabilitation. And Alex finds out that there is a program, but it's experimental. One day when the Minister of the Interior shows up, Alex kind of like opens his mouth and kind of displays that, he knows of the program and he tries to get himself involved in it. And of course, Alex is accepted into the program that uses this new Ludovico technique, which is an experimental aversion therapy. They use different drugs and pump it through your system so that you physically get sick while seeing violent images and sexual images. Alex is subjected to a series of films, and this is where we get to see that iconic picture of Alex with his eyes pried open with this odd-looking device, and they've got these like brain...
Got electrodes, kind of like supposed to be sensors or something of that nature.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that this is the kind of second most iconic thing about the film.
Yes.
Is that, one, it's his costume as a droog with the eye makeup and the cane and everything and the bowler hat. And second is having your eyes peeled back and being forced to watch something.
Yeah.
Those things, like, even nobody's even fucking heard of a Clockwork Orange. They're aware of those two things.
It was also in pulp culture. I mean, I want to say it was one of the Treehouses of Horrors where Bart Simpson was dressed up like Alex. There
are tons of Simpsons references. They did the sped up montage where they're having sex.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, like they did that like single sped up camera in the the back of a room, and Homer was like eating and watching TV and stuff.
Gotcha.
He was doing non-sexual things, but the Simpsons made fun of it.
Yeah.
My favorite joke from The Simpsons is when I don't know who was playing the Alex in one of the episodes. He say we're gonna do the in and out, and then they cut it to them just going in and out from the slide doors from the supermarket. When they open the door, and they just jump like a jumper. It's like pure genius from The Simpsons. One
thing I wanted to mention about all these videos he's watching is there's a scene where they show an assault on a woman. And it's a gang, but they're all dressed in white, much like his own gang. And
they got pirate hats or some shit.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. So is that what the futures of gangs are? Is everyone wears like white suits with different kinds of hats?
Every gang has a theme.
During his film sessions, while all this is occurring, there's one particular film sequence where they're playing, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and that in turn makes Alex, realize that, don't make me feel aversion to this. I'm starting to feel sick when I listen to the song. And Dr. Bronsky just tells Alex that, hey, you need this therapy. You need to do this. I'm sorry it's this music, but you're not healed. You're not cured. And it's just, it's poor shocking for Alex to have to go through this, to know that through the rest of his life, he can't listen to the music that he loves, Beethoven. But what did you guys think of this whole aversion therapy?
I mean, again, it's probably the most iconic. Joyce says it's the second. I think it's the most iconic visual of it. I mean, the bowler hat and stuff was secondary to the image of him sitting with these clamps on his eyes, keeping them open and looking straight ahead. So it's an intense scene. I mean, it had to be rough to film. I mean, I can't imagine what that was like, especially knowing that Kubrick likes to do 10,000 takes. I don't know how long that guy had to sit there. I mean, do know that he had a real doctor sitting next to him the whole time. And I think the liquid that they're putting in his eyes is to make sure that they don't dry out so he can like keep filming or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that had to be pretty rough to do. I mean, I got to give Malcolm McDowell, credit. That probably was not a fun scene. And I got to imagine they probably got his eyes a couple times during that. I can't imagine he went unscathed with as many times as they probably had to put those clamps in or whatever. But it's still iconic. And I think it's ironic that, what is the music that's set to it, but his favorite piece, Beethoven. And he's just screaming, it's a crime, make it go away, make it stop. Not that the films are bad, the scenes are horrible, the images are deplorable or something that he doesn't want to see. It's just that they're wrecking his music. And the doctor's like, yeah, well, you need this. And he goes, and maybe this is finally the punishment. Like, he's like, we're finally getting through this guy. We're taking like the only thing away from him that seems to have any effect, and it's Ludwig van Beethoven. That's it. Like, outside of that, it seems like this guy cares about nothing else.
Right.
It's like that kid you can't punish because nothing phases him. You put him in the corner, he'll just find something to entertain himself with, kind of thing. It's like, how do you punish somebody that just can't be punished? That's how this guy was until this moment, and he finally had to do it. So it's ironic that they took the one thing that he really loved and appreciated and turned it into something that he now finds repulsive or will find repulsive. So,
which is funny because it's essentially become a meme of seeing his eyes pried open or whatever. That anything that's like questioning, like, why am I watching this? Oh God, right? Like, that's the meme like associated with it. Oh God, like they ruined, the end of my favorite show. And it's like, here's Alex from Clockwork Orange with his eyes pried open. It's like, I have to watch it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God, I didn't see that movie. That is cool.
I feel like it's a direct reflection of today with all the crap we got to watch, all these horrible movies and TV that they're pumping out. I feel like a lot of times they're trying to put these things in my eyes and force me to watch this horrible crap, which is why I now do a podcast on the movies from 1001 Movies You Should Watch Before You Die, because it's all good stuff.
Ironically, it's how you feel about this film.
Yeah.
That's the only time you identified with Alex. Is just like, oh God, this whole movie's like this.
Yeah, except nobody put them damn things in my eyes. I just willingly did it, much like Rick. I was like, what? Why am I watching? This is horrible. Don't make it stop. This is horrible.
The eye clamp thing is, I don't even know how the hell I've seen it, but I knew that it was from this movie. And matter of fact, when we were getting really, really close to these scenes unfolding, I knew this was going to happen, and I never seen the movie, so I don't know where I got the reference for this or whatever, but I do recall seeing that. Maybe it was just like a picture of one of the scenes where he's sitting in the chair with the clamps, but I do remember that. And I, again, found it to be a little bit justifying that he was trying his normal machinations of gaslighting and lies and manipulating in order to try to get his way, in order to avoid any sort of accountability. And the doctors were just like, no, this is just what we're doing. It was really interesting that they were just very matter-of-factly, the patient is going to do this, and this is what the patient does, and the patient will be doing this for the next, like, literally saying what Alex is going to be going through and what he's going to do and what he's going to say in order to try to get out of this excruciating, quote-unquote, pain that he's going through. The thing that I vehemently disagree with is that after doing this procedure, that he could get out of jail early. Man, I don't know. Fuck that, man. He should still been in jail.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's the comment. That's the thing about the movie that is commentary. Like, the fact that he was allowed to be released is like the failing of the institutions.
Yeah.
Why? Like, it doesn't matter you took the drug, the treat. He's still a dangerous criminal. Before he goes to the treatment, the warden saying like, I know you're still bad. You're not rehabilitated.
Yeah, well, I think that was the whole point of it, was that the minister was wanting to find a solution for this overcrowded problem.
Yeah.
By having Alex go through the system, the minister can now say, like any politician, oh, hey, look, we found a solution. Here's the cure. Here's what we can do to all of these terrible criminals that are currently crowding our prison system. We can give them through this experiment, shows them in front of all these Department of Justice people. We see that whole sequence of him being attacked by the actor. He sees a woman just standing there in her 26th pair of panties, as Tim has pointed out. And that's just so that the minister can say, I found a solution. Look at me. I hired this doctor to find the solution. And now we can make the world a better place. We can even release him into society. And I think that's where the movie turns from being about the ultra violence and everything that's going on in society to being a look at what the government could do at some point in our society to try to fix this problem.
Yeah.
So I thought that what the priest had said after that live test was spot on.
Yes.
Matter of fact, that is exactly what I thought right before he stepped up to the stage, because I was almost, I guess, a little bit of pity I had for Alex, because you know that he can't do what he really wants. He's not going to be like a real person. He is going to be almost like a little robot. You know what I'm saying? He's been programmed to not do certain things.
Yeah. So the question that the movie poses, is it better to be evil by choice or good by force? Kubrick is portraying the violence not just as an individual failing, but as like a social constant perceived by the criminals and the institution. Seeing this Ludovic technique was meant to cure Alex, but instead it strips him of the choice, turning him into something else than a human,
Right.
And, and the priest quotes what the film is talking about. Is it to be good or, to be evil, right? He's not giving a choice. He's being forced to not defend himself, like in a situation that we're going to see later on, him getting beaten, getting abused, and then like being tortured, And it's like, he's not defending himself because of this treatment he got, and that's...
Which is all good, by the way. I'm totally cool with that. I thought that was awesome, actually.
Yes, but...
I thought that was awesome.
I get it, but yeah, but then at the same time, it's like, this guy, he's just a human person.
No, fuck that. They should have done to him what they did at Sparta. That's what they should have done. They should have wiped their hands clean of this guy.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I liked about like this moment. It's like, okay, I see what Kubrick is telling, and it's just crazy what the government is doing.
Well,
and,
either way, whether there is a death penalty or not, either way, this guy should have never been able to get back out. Period. End of story.
No,
right.
No, I agreed. But that's the part where it's the government's fault. It's like,
Yeah, well, that's because he hasn't found true redemption. You know, he hasn't sought out forgiveness for all of his crimes and his sins. You know, he's forced to act a certain way in society, and I think we really see that unfold when he is released. You know, he goes home and he sees that his home is no longer his home. He's been kicked out by his parents. They now have a lodger named I think it was Joe. Even there, you know, he's forced to, you know, he wants to hit Joe, but he gets that sickness over him, and it's interesting the dynamic that has changed in his house.
It's an interesting concept. Can you really program a human to that point where he wants to commit violence? He wants to force himself upon other individuals. Pick whatever other crime you want. And can you just make them so ill that they don't want to commit that crime anymore? I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it can really be done. But the idea that if it could, it's scary. You hear people today like, oh, these people need to be thrown in camps and reprogrammed. Well, the powers that be shift all the time, and those camps would change face continuously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so who determines what's right and wrong? When we look at Alex, we clearly understand this guy's not right, and he's not a good person. He's, you know, pretty much evil. He does bad things. But if they can do it there, what else and who else can they do it to change them to conform to whatever they decide is the standard? So it's a scary proposition in that regard. So now that we're past all the shock and awe, we are truly getting into the, you know, the retrospective of considering these questions and the possibilities and what would it mean to society as a whole.
Yeah, this is the part of the movie that I actually like, because it's a thought process. It's something that makes you question, you know, not only society and government, but just where we sit with neighbors and people around us. You know, where do we go from here?
Well, if you break a person down and you don't build them back up, then you're going to feel lost. And he knew how to function in society as a predator, as a manipulator. And now that they've made him to be physically ill when those instincts are upon him, even in a defensive way, then now he is prey.
Yeah, and prey he is. I mean, as you just said, Joe, you know, he's no longer a predator. I mean, it's like they castrated him. He no longer has that drive to defend himself.
Actually, I think a better analogy is he's a cat with no claws.
There you go.
He's a cat that has absolutely no claws anymore.
Yeah. And, you know, he runs afoul of the very same tramp that they beat up at the beginning of the movie. You know, the guy recognizes him right off the bat. And just when he thinks that he has some safety because some police, an attack by a bunch of, lack of a better term, people who got kicked out of a retirement community, because every single one of those tramps, they were all like above the age of 65.
Old folks.
You're not going to use the H word?
Old folks.
Hobos. A group of old hobos is accosting our lead character, Alex.
Yeah.
When the police happen upon him and twist.
Yeah. The serious twist is that it's Georgie and Dim. I know I haven't sat down and read the book yet, and maybe Andreas can kind of clue me in on this, but I know when Georgie and Dim, quote, rescue Alex and they throw him in the back of the paddy wagon and they take him out to the countryside, pretty much like beat the living tar out of him. From what I understand in the book, they do that on a regular basis with people they pick up off the street.
Yeah, well, the writer brought it up that's just the fault of the government allowing these hooligans become cops. Like, that's part of their thing. One thing I do want to point out, something a lot of people point out, is the numbers of the police badge that Dim and Pete, Dim and who's the other fellow? I forgot the name. Georgie. It's 665, and then one is 664, and the middle of Alex, he's 666. I just want to bring it up. It's a very clever, kind of Easter egg, paying attention to that, and it's funny because the 666 is getting beat up by his former troops. This part of the movie is like the part where it got really crazy. And this I remember because my friends were just laughing hard because it's like, oh my god, he meets up with his droogies, and then they take him out to the freaking conveniently nowhere where it's going to be next to the home later on, and it gets
countryside.
The countryside, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, this is gonna worse. And I want to stop there because we hang on to the home. The home, that's where I'm like, oh my god, he's dead. He's dead meat.
Right. It is interesting how that Kubrick sets it up so that he winds up following the exact same pattern from the beginning of the movie. So he runs into the tramp first.
Yeah.
So the tramp gets his revenge. He runs into his droogs. They get their revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And now here he's abandoned, and he just happens to be in the same spot where more revenge will take place. It's kind of clever how he bookmarked or bookended the parts of this part of the movie. Kind of a nice feeling to see justification of, or I wouldn't say justification. Help me out here, Rick. What would you call that?
It's karma personified.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
But almost to the point of like, really? I mean, what are the chances this guy gets out? His parents have a lodger. The government sold all his stuff. They're like, you're SOL. You can't live here anymore. He heads out to the streets. The exact bum finds him, and all his friends, quote unquote, bum rush him and do the same thing to him what they did. The cops who rescue him are now his old, buddies who are like, well, we didn't like you then. We don't like you now. So let's take you out to the country. We'll tool you up, leave you for dead. And then he's so bewildered he ends up at the final infraction to which, he caused before, well, the second to the last, major infraction he causes in life. So it's almost silly,
It's
the way it's
intentionally.
staged.
That's the thing.
Yeah, they fucked him up so bad that he didn't even realize he was stumbling back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
So until later. But oh my god, how long did Malcolm McDowell hold his breath in that fucking trough? Did they have like an air tube? Does anybody know how they did that?
They did. They had an air tube in there.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that guy got fucking literally tortured on screen.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. No, he had so I think it was either a mask or a tube to breathe through.
It makes me wonder how many takes they had to go through for that too, because Kubrick's big on redoing take after take.
Yeah, he's a very, perfectionist, and so he does a lot of the takes, which is famous for Kubrick. If you're big, into seminar movies, is a big thing with it. He always takes long takes, forever.
I lost a trivia question about The Shining at a public event.
Oh yeah,
because nobody knew the exact answer, but it was some ridiculous number of takes.
Oh,
they showed you the scene and they said, how many takes of that did Kubrick do? And I'm like thinking, is it a trick question? Is it just 3?
No.
More. It was some ridiculous number. Nobody got it right.
So Alex winds up in front of the home of the crippled Mr. Alexander, and he basically stumbles onto his doorstep and rings his bell, and we get a repeat shot of the introduction of Mr. Alexander, the writer. And then he pans over, and we see this very Darthy, ominous, extremely tall gentleman who I believe is making his, film debut.
Yeah.
And he looks familiar, Tim, Rick.
You mean David Prowse? Is that what you're trying to get at, Matt? Yeah, we're talking about David Prowse?
Yes.
Or a.k.a. Darth Vader himself? Yes.
Yes.
In fact, if you look, he's already practicing for the role because a lot of times he stands with his arms crossed, just like he does when he's the old Sith Lord.
That's what I saw in my rewatch here. I was like, oh yeah, he knew it was going to be Darth Vader.
I think even you hear his heavy breathing too as he's lifting his weight. He's like, did you hear that, Rick?
Dude, I didn't even know. I didn't know until somebody spilled the beans a little bit earlier, and I was like, huh?
I'm sorry.
Who is this? I looked it up, and I was like, oh shit! I didn't know. I did not know.
Actually, David Prowse was pretty ballsy. He walked up to Kubrick and he said, "Listen, I know you're known as the man that likes to do 1,000 takes. I cannot carry this guy up and down the stairs that many times. I need you to do this as fast as possible." And everybody lost their shit. They're like, "Oh, fuck, this guy's off he's off the set. And Kubrick just kind of laughed and said, all right. And they did that in 6 takes.
Nice.
That was it. 6 takes to get it done for him.
I mean, Kubrick. I know Kubrick is very just sometimes he could be very forceful when he wants to do takes, but he's not undoubtedly he's a reasonable person. He will we're.
I don't think he is. That's not the word I've heard most people call him.
Yeah, I know, but at least he has some reasonability sometimes, Well,
I'd like to think when you're Kubrick, it's fat little director, and you're standing next to 6 foot whatever, massive muscular man who again is going to be the Dark Lord of the Sith, and he says, "Look, man, you're going to do this, and you're going to do it quick." He's probably like, "Yeah, I think I can do that because otherwise you're going to pound me into the ground." I'm pretty sure that's how that went. It was just self-preservation from Kubrick.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Yeah, I met that guy when he was an old dude. He was still intimidating.
Yeah.
He was still just huge. So yeah.
Our supervillain winds up grabbing the villain of this movie. He goes up to David Prowse goes up to the door, or Julian is his name, and opens the door, and poor Alex just kind of falls right into the house, and he takes him down to Mr. Alexander, and you could see the look on his face that he recognizes the boy, but he doesn't exactly recognize him right off the bat, and he finally puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that it's the kid from the newspaper. And so he's willing to help the kid out because he knows he's in the political party contrary to the current administration. And so he sees Alex as a political weapon. And so he tells him, hey, you know what, go ahead and, get yourself cleaned up. Julian, draw him a bath. And while Alex is in the bath, he's on the phone. He's calling up, his political partners, and they're going to try to, use Alex for a tool to, for lack of a better word, overthrow the current administration. And that's when we hear Alex start singing in the Rain. And the shot that Kubrick makes of the writer when he rolls over to the door, he hears it, and you get this weird angle where his head's up against the door, but the camera's mounted up underneath the wheelchair, and you just see his face just completely shaking because he's in total shock, and he's reliving everything that occurred to him when Alex and his droogs attacked him in his home. I just thought that this was a very shocking scene. This was the point where the guy is okay, I am now knowing what I'm going to have to do to this kid.
I thought Alex was safe until he did the stupid thing of singing in the rain, and then that's when I was yep, you're dead. You're dead, me. If you pay attention, especially the rewatch I had today, I was oh, Alex is sitting while he was talking, and when he's done with the conversation, and then the writer just listens, wait a minute, something is really up. I recognize that. And then when the writer goes close to the door, and then he starts singing in the rain, it's oh God, please don't tell me he recognized it. And it did. Just seeing the writer recognizing Alex finally, and then doing that face, it's oh my God. It's we thought we were over, it's not over yet. And when we get to the scene, it's the Alfred Hitchcock thing of not knowing the bomb is under the table. Whenever Alex is gonna realize that he's in deep shit, in trouble. And that's just the great genius of Stanley Kubrick as a director, is just to build up the tense.
Well, what about you, Rick? What do you think about this realization by the writer that, the person that murdered his wife and crippled him is in the house?
This particular part was, I don't know, I think it was a little bit unsettling to some extent, and it definitely had a bit of suspense. I don't know about all audience members, but I, for one, was kind of on the edge of my seat. Once he enters into the abode, wondering when this person is going to understand what is happening and who has he invited into his home. That little bit of vindication comes when he starts to sing, kind of gives himself up. It's interesting, but the feeling doesn't end there, because he starts eating spaghetti, and he starts drinking the wine. Is it poisoned? Is it not? When is the dagger actually going to come into the back, this unsuspecting hooligan.
Right.
So yeah.
Like when you say that's another dark comedy thing that or Friends vs. Life is like more wine. I was like, what the hell? You know, like he was making obvious like advancements to Alex. Like, I know who you are. You're dead. Darth Vader there is just standing there, just doing this. It's like knowing what's his master doing. It's like, oh my god. It's like,
let's face it, it's just foretelling the future. I mean, this is the same as Palpatine is to Anakin. We got it right here. This, Mr. Alexander, he's looking at Julian and he's like, do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate, show no mercy. So they set this guy up, they drop him down, they throw him in the room and finish him off. So yeah, it's totally parallel in Star Wars. Luke's like, oh, this is great, I'm stealing this.
Well, I have to give it to Malcolm McDowell because he does a great pratfall here when the drugs finally kick in and his face just goes splat right into the spaghetti plate. That is acting.
Yeah.
Did anybody else get hungry watching him eat the spaghetti?
Actually,
a little bit.
No.
I love spaghetti. It was giving you ideas about like, what am I going to cook later in the week? We should have spaghetti.
Someone needs to teach Alex how to eat spaghetti properly. You need a fork and a spoon, and you have to twirl the pasta on your fork while you balance the spoon to help wind it onto your fork.
Did he do that?
It's not that sophisticated.
I thought he did.
No, he's sitting there, he's like slurping it up and making lots of mouth
he's
noises.
eating it like he was eating ramen.
Well, I mean, come on, it's a dystopian future. All social etiquette as it pertains to eating spaghetti has now been lost to the to the masses, and they're just having to eat it any old way they can figure out how to do it.
I guess so.
I find it funny that out of a 2-hour film, we're truly analyzing the spaghetti of the scene.
Fun fact: if you make too much sauce and you run out of noodles and you got all this leftover sauce, and you're like, what are we gonna do with it? We're gonna make, am I gonna, try to do something else with it? Am I gonna throw it on a sandwich and put some cheese on it, or what do you do with this extra meat sauce? Well, here you go. So you get some ramen, you take the chicken or beef flavor or whatever, you throw that out, and then you dump hot water on it, like you normally do, prepare the noodles, drain it, which you normally don't do because it's a soupy thing. You drain them noodles and you throw the spaghetti sauce right on top of that. Ramen noodles with spaghetti sauce, go for it.
Well, I tell you what, don't throw the packet away.
Or you could,
Don't throw the packet of ramen away. Use that on popcorn. You could use that later. You put it on popcorn.
Ooh.
The chicken or the beef?
Isn't that what the garlic bread's for? God, honestly, guys, what the hell's wrong with you?
We're trying to be creative, Tim. We like
you
to be
could put it on
foods.
bread.
Well, I just want to thank our listeners for listening to Mam Review's food podcast. And as a throwback to
we need to do a spaghetti special.
We'll do it when we do Good, Bad, and Ugly, the spaghetti westerns.
Didn't we just do a spaghetti western? Doesn't the Rio Grande, count? I think
they didn't shoot that shit in Italy.
Well, okay.
But as another throwback to a previous episode, if you are someone who is a purveyor of food and food products like Subway or Jimmy John's or Jersey Mike's, we're looking for sponsors. We will review your sandwich or eat a sandwich right here on the show, or spaghetti.
Hang on, we did Once Upon a Time in the Old West. That's a fucking spaghetti western. That shit was done over there. We did cover it.
Yeah. I think we should probably move from food to go to another scene with food as we.
No, we didn't talk about the Kool-Aid.
Oh, yes.
He was really suspicious of that wine. The whole reason why he went face first in the Kool-Aid.
Right.
Face first into the spaghetti. His instincts were correct. And it was just the most Kool-Aid fucking color. It's like you knew something was up with it, but apparently you got to drink 4 or 5 fucking glasses of it.
Yeah.
Or it really hits you, or it was slow acting.
It was a very, very light colored wine, that's for sure. I know if I learned anything from Shakespeare, you want to use a dark wine or just pour the poison right into somebody's ear.
Yeah.
Mr. Alexander does get his revenge. He ends up playing Beethoven's Ninth while Alex is locked up in a bedroom. And Alex decides to just end it all because he can't stand taking it anymore. And so he jumps out the window And of course, when he comes to, he's in a hospital, and we get to see some interesting doctor playing doctor while while Alex is recovering.
This movie needs comic relief.
Yes, yeah.
We finally learn that Alex has been cured from the cure, that he can actually, think of violence again. And we get an interview with him and the minister, or a scene where they're discussing things, and the minister's like, "Hey, you're gonna work for me now," the way it boils down to it. And this is another scene that's kind of iconic for me, because Alex is sitting there eating and the minister's feeding him, and he does very much like a 4-year-old, just sitting there with his mouth open.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah.
He was doing it as a means of taunting the guy too.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an interesting ending to the film. I mean, we go from a kid who is very violent to being, a cat without claws, to now being back to being violent, and the whole cycle begins again.
I love the ending because it's such a ambiguous ending, because we don't know he's cured or like that. It's because just the way how to set it up is kind of crazy, because it's like, okay, he gets his the therapy tests. It's like, okay, he is kind of back as Alex, but then when the Prime Minister surprised him with music with the Ninth Symphony, I was like, oh my god. And just his reaction is like, we flash back to this again, another ultra violent sequence that in it, our last in out is kind of crazy. And it's just it's a roller coaster. That's how I could describe people, is that this movie is a psychological roller coaster.
Well, how about you, Rick? How do you feel about all the comeuppance that Alex gets?
I don't think he really gets any. I think that it's kind of pointless here at the end. Maybe could be some morals or something maybe that you can kind of take out of this ending. But, I mean, because when you really think about it, nothing's changed. Nothing has happened. His temporary stay at the correction facility, at prison or whatever, that didn't change anything at all. So he's back to square one, back where he was before, going to be able to do the same stuff as he did before. So it seems to be, all in all, mostly a letdown, but there could be morals that you can see, like, the government can't be trusted to get anything done, or you can't do anything to help a sociopath. But aside from that, not a big fan of that.
I'm in the same boat with you, Rick, because this is not a hero's journey. Alex is not a hero in this film, even though he cast himself as one. It's definitely not a upbeat film, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a commentary on political opportunism. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And it even more so, it's never let a good crisis go to waste. Oh, look, everybody's not happy with all the youth running wild in the streets and all the crime, the violence and stuff that they're doing. Well, look, we got this program over here where we can just program them and turn them into these perfect citizens by making them so ill anytime they want to perpetrate these crimes that they can't physically do it. Oh, you're not happy that we did that? Well, everybody's super unhappy with that? Well, that's a crisis. Oh, well, look, we can deprogram him, and we would never do such a horrible thing. Like, that's a horrible thing that somebody over here in the government decided to do, but we're not about that. That's kind of how I look at the ending here. I mean, it's kind of clumsily done too, because we don't really see how he becomes deprogrammed. I mean, short of, I guess I jumped out of a window and broke every damn bone in my body, so maybe that did it, but there's no program.
Was it the whack on the head?
Yeah.
Or was it the getting babied in the hospital?
No, I think...
Or is it just the time in between leaving and...
They alluded to it because Alex was saying that he had some pretty wicked dreams of people fucking about in his head. So I think that kind of signals that there were some happenings going on while he was unconscious, that he was at some level aware of.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I guess we really didn't need another 30 minutes of how they deprogrammed them or whatever, but I just thought that was kind of odd that it just seemed like, oh, well, he fell out of a window and knocked him in the head, and that seemed to cure him or whatever. So apparently it was never going to take that long anyway. All he had to do was just, get a good knock to the noggin, which I would think that the bum rush that happened by the bums would have probably taken care of that. But well, what do I know?
If I learned anything from Gilligan's Island, is if once you get hit on the head, it fixes all your problems.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, that has been A Clockwork Orange, a rather thorough, in-depth review of it. Let's take a look at the IMDb score. So IMDb rates this at 8.2 out of 10 stars. At the 8.2, reviewers say that A Clockwork Orange is a provocative film by Stanley Kubrick, delving into free will, government control, and violence. It is lauded for its striking visuals, classical music integration, and Malcolm McDowell's performance. Critics appreciate its philosophical inquiry into conditioning and morality. Though some find it graphic content unsettling, which I have to agree with, the film's Nadsat language and futuristic setting enhance its unique atmosphere despite varied opinions on its merits. A Clockwork Orange is recognized as a significant cinematic work by the BFI.
Agreed.
Well, now that we know what IMDb rates this film, does it rest with our crew and their limited amount of time on this earth? Is it worth taking the 2 hours and 33 minutes off of their death clocks to watch this film? Tim, what do you say?
Matt, I'm just going to have to reiterate some of what I said. I mean, this to me is nothing more than a drug-induced fever dream that basically borders on torture porn. I mean, it's just something I would expect from, a freshman director trying to get his name out there for the first time through shock and awe, and not from something from a seasoned director, especially somebody coming off something like 2001. So I say this is a hard pass. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on this one. I don't think it's worth watching. I think it's just rough. It's just really rough to watch. I don't think it's that brilliant of a film. I don't think it's that groundbreaking. And I think there's been a ton of dystopian films out there. We know what that means. We know, the idea behind that concept. And this one just takes it and turns it up to not only 11, but probably 12, and not in a good way. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's a definite hard pass.
Well, how about you, Andreas? You got a counterpoint to him since you were a Kubrick head?
Yes, as this film is highly controversial, and I'm going to make this highly controversial death clock, it was worth the watch because it's deep philosophies about good versus evil and free will. I think it's one of the most humanical films I've seen in my lifetime. I'm going to give a fair warning that is not for everyone. It's a deep movie. You need to think about what they're talking about, the themes that they're presenting. Be prepared and see what they're trying to tell, and you have to think about what was going on. So that's my thoughts on the movie.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Rick, how about you? Where does it sit on your death clock?
So, okay. This movie was definitely a tour into the mind of a disturbed criminal. Some of the scenes were too graphic and frankly unnecessary. And to make matters worse, it seemed as though nothing has actually happened besides the villain is still a villain and he's free just like he was when the movie started. And like I said, there really hasn't, through the whole entire film, nothing has been learned, lost, or gained. And to some extent, it just seems pointless, albeit perhaps a modicum of a moral could be learned here. And like I said, maybe the government is something that shouldn't be trusted or can't get anything done. Maybe the moral is that there's no point in trying to help a sociopath. And I don't know. I don't really think that these are lessons that the movie really needs to exist in order to tell me. I probably could have said that without this movie. You know what I mean? So in the end, I'd say pass on this one. I would agree with Tim on this one, and I would vehemently disagree with IMDb's rating. I would never say that this thing is rated anywhere close to an 8.
Gotcha. All right. Joey, how about you? Where you sit on the Death Clock?
I think it's an important film. I think it's easy for a lot of people to miss the point of it. Is Malcolm McDowell's character is not the only sociopath in the film. He's living under authoritarian fascist government who are also sociopaths. They're just more civilized about it. They don't care about him. They only care about staying in power. And ultimately they pay him, or they're offering to pay him to just pretend that he's okay and that this program worked and that they're the good guys. And it's really, a victim of his who ends up in prison. The writer. I think it's a very relevant movie. I think it's very well made. A lot of people steal this, that, and the other from it and were inspired by it. And I think it was worth making. And good films are hard to make. And I'm sure this one wasn't pleasant at all. But at the end of the day, some people aren't going to get it. And I'm not saying this is a movie that you want to watch again and again and again. And if you do, there's something fucking wrong with you. But I think it's a movie that everybody should watch. And it's definitely worth taking time off your death clock.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're even down the road here, but I'm going to swing the vote towards Tim and Rick. That even though Joey did make a solid point on why someone should watch this movie, I'm in that mindset of no, it's not worth taking time off your death clock. Although I liked the film when I was younger, it really isn't my cup of tea right now. I enjoy Stanley Kubrick films, but I think this hits you over the head with a dark mirror look at society. It's a warning of governmental control, but I can get that in other movies like V for Vendetta.
There are other movies that have the same message.
Yeah, at this time in my life, it's not something I would want to go and watch more and more. And is that it is not worth taking time off for your death clock. So, well, with all that being said, folks, we want to hear from you. So please leave us some feedback. You can email our show at manreviewpodcast@gmail.com. and have your email read right here on the show, or you can leave a comment on YouTube or Spotify, and we'll discuss it here as well. Andreas, I want to thank you for being a part of our show. Can you let our listeners know where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, my stuff, or the bunch of stuff I'm in. First left, you can find me on my channel, Andreas Pop Culture Guy Channel Presents. That's where I do mostly my pop culture movie, TV, character tributes / views of their content, IP, all that is in my channel. That's what I do. But if you want me to do more traditional way, like reviews of TV stuff with other people, I'm usually at the MCU Bleeding Edge. Every Wednesday, Fridays, we do either a movie review or a TV show. Currently, we're doing the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the HBO show, the spin-off for the Game of Thrones universe. On Friday, we're wrapping up Full Out, which is sad. I love that show, so that's what we currently do. And soon, we're going to go into Apple Plus TV, where we're going to review soon the Monarch, the Legacy of Monster show, and then we're going to review 2 movies from the Apple TV Plus, 1 horror movie and then 1 drama movie that Jeff picked. So very excited to do all that.
Awesome. Well, Rick, also known as Dungeon Master Elite, you want to let our listeners know where they can find more of your stuff as well?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel. It's the Dungeon Master Elite channel. So it's just Dungeon Master Elite. There's no spaces in there. And I have videos and tutorials, walkthroughs for games such as Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne, any kind of Souls-like kind of game, as well as some tactical or strategy RPGs. So Felseal, Arbiter's Mark, Tactics Ogre Reborn, Dio Field Chronicles, these type of games. So if you're in any of those type of games and you're looking for a little bit of help or some tips, then stop on by. It's the Dungeon Master Elite.
Thanks for listening to Middle Aged Movies Podcast and our review of A Clockwork Orange. We hope you've enjoyed it because I know we droogs were happy bringing it to you. And if you did enjoy the review, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share with your friends. Let's make 2026 a year you can help us grow this podcast and really help get the word out to the masses. Not only are you helping us grow the MAM community, but you're doing your friends a salad by keeping them from wasting their precious death clock on crappy movies.
Follow us on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Have a comment or suggestion, then email the show at manreviewpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks. Stay cool. And bye, everyone.
Saying this is a movie that you want to watch again and again and again, and if you do, there's something fucking wrong with you.
Big screen gets so bright. I got my favorite beverage, snacks, and my chair feels right. Yeah. Color, silent, black and white. You never know what's on that screen tonight, but you're gonna find out on middle-aged movie reviews. Well, will I like it? Will I like it? 'Cause you know the death clock. No, it's not rewinding. No, will I like it? Will I like it? 'Cause you know the death clock. No, it's not rewinding. Oh, will I like it? Will I like it? 'Cause you know the death clock. No, it's not rewinding.